The world of 3D printing is a wonderful place of invention and creativity. There are publicly produced and distributed models for basically any hobby, made readily available for anyone to make if capable. The world of music is no exception, and today I'm going to show you a bunch of uses for 3D printing in your music studio or situation, starting with guitarists. And even more specifically today, guitar picks. There may be a few of you out there wondering why I am re-uploading this video. And this is because the video will be mostly the same, but I wanted to change the flow of the original to make it shorter and reformat the planned series kind of structure in general. But for the rest of you, let's get into the preliminary info. Try and keep it short. If there is a section you aren't interested in, need to watch again, or already know about, there are chapters available on the timeline. But I recommend watching anyway. You never know what I may be able to find or help with in the subject, or what models there might be in general. I would also like to mention that I plan to make more videos like this. There are just so many models that I can't fit them all into one video that anyone would actually be able to have the attention span to watch. So if you find yourself enjoying this video and want to see more, then don't forget to subscribe. Let's get into the actual basic info for how we made these models. I wanted to print these models on a beginner level printer to show that they simply could be. So a long while ago, when the video was first being conceptualized, I printed most of these models on the Ender 3 V3 SE by the brand Creality. That was when I got the printer working somewhat decently, however it doesn't now. I don't recommend buying this printer as your first printer. There are many beginner level printers that can achieve a successful print of these models, but this one just ain't it. Anything else that would need to be printed now will be done on the Bambu Labs P1P. This isn't the most affordable machine, but it is great and reliable for the price you get it at. When I printed these models all that time ago, I used Hatchbox PLA Plus filament. If I remember right, this was to give the prints some extra long-term strength. However, the filament can be a little more difficult than normal PLA and even most other PLA Pluses. It's prone to warping or curling on the bed. Sometimes it's more, sometimes less. So anything else will probably be made with Polymaker Polylite PLA Black or White. If for any reason you want to buy any of the plastics or a bunch of other good stuff that for 3D printing from this video, please use one of the affiliate links in the description. And finally, all models you see today were gotten from Thingiverse.com. This is a great site where you can find many 3D printable models made available by the community for the community. So let's finally get into the fun stuff. We can always use more guitar picks. There are quite a few publicly available models of guitar picks. Some are designed to closely replicate name brands like this model by Guessy Games. Others are more for looks like these stranger looking Nirvana models by Nightstone. I however print these picks that I personally designed. I used these models as an example in another video talking about a slicer program issue, and was told that there is a model very closely resembles it on Printables, another 3D model sharing site. I don't use Printables, so I wouldn't have known, but that commenter ripped into me calling me a model stealing something or other. But that's just how this day and age goes, I guess. I usually try and print these out of Polymaker Polymax PLA Plus to try and get a mixture of ease of printing and durability. I'm working on trying to start a small business, and these are hopefully going to be available for purchase for a small price sometime in the future, which is also why I got ripped into by that other guy, since I totally stole the model. I'm not going to get into it too deep, but the material you choose is very important to the durability of your 3D printed guitar picks. So much so that most people who 3D print will tell you that it's just straight up dumb to 3D print guitar picks. You want a material that can take some bending without being too rigid. If your material is very stiff, it will typically not bend well, and when it does, it will put significant strain on the pick and more than likely snap eventually, if not just deform permanently. The Polymaker PLA Plus has a good balance of rigidity and bendability. On top of that, in a video made by CNC Kitchen, he displayed the somewhat strange case of strength in this filament's case. Instead of violently snapping like most other plastics, it stretches before completely breaking, if it even snaps at all. This means that it has just the right properties for this purpose. Additionally, if you plan to use 3D printed picks outside of the house, you may have to worry about the glass transition point of your plastic, or basically when the plastic melts. This is a somewhat complex subject, but I will try to explain it as simply as possible in another video, hopefully available in the description. So let's see how this pick compares to other picks. My guitar pick with the degraded tip. Ibanez Wizard Grip pick, which has a good tip on it. I also printed this Animal Crossing leaf by New Honeydew. I wanted to print this out of Bamboo Labs green PLA that came with my Bamboo Labs P1P, just because it's green, but I took forever to make this video after coming up with the concept, so I ended up using that plastic up before actually being able to print this model. So it's currently printed out of Polymaker Polylite PLA Black on the P1P. It's included in this section because it was labeled as a guitar pick, so I included it for fun. It is a strange guitar pick shape, but the pick was going okay. It's a weird shape to hold, but then right at the end, it got caught on the little cutout of the leaf. Not an optimal pick shape, but, you know, it works. As an additional note, all publicly produced models are available in the description of this video. I also wanted to try this pick. This is called Guitar Pick Multi-Pick 12-String Effect. Kind of has that AliExpress naming scheme, huh? Anyway, this is made by Takalin and is one of those theoretically neat ideas that probably won't work in execution, especially in 3D printed execution. But let's see. Okay, I have no idea how this thing is going to work. This is the 12-string effect pick. I don't know how you're supposed to hold it and get all of these to work. That does not work. There's also this hole in here, I don't know what that's for, and overall this just sounds scratchy on my strings, and I feel like it's probably degrading them faster. Yeah, I'm not confident in this. Does that sound like a 12 string? I haven't heard many 12 strings, but I don't think it sounds like that. The main issue with this pick model is that it has to be printed vertically. This makes it so that the layer lines are in line with its tool action, for lack of a better term. I have made or will make a separate video explaining about layer lines linked in the description or to be announced. Subscribe for that. But also, I'm partially considering trying my hand at making a similar model myself. Would you be interested in seeing that? Let me know. So let's move on from your average picks to something that I don't see used too often. Finger picks. This first one is more of an all-in-one tool called Customizable Finger with Nail by Watakuai. I think I got it. This is meant to be a strong fingernail for anything from peeling an orange to picking guitar to picking other things. But I think you know what we're going to use this for today. I'm also going to pair this model with this other model called Guitar Thumb Pick by Greco? I don't know. This is a simple thumb pick. However, either I didn't print it right or it's just modeled on the designer's thumb, but it's a little small on mine. And to top all this off, I have never actually used any type of finger picks, so this probably won't go well regardless of the model's qualities, but let's try some new things, huh? Okay, I've been really struggling here, but I've been trying to practice with these things a little bit to get something decent down and not just completely give these things a false review. But I think I finally got something, although my finger in here is getting a little sweaty and so it falls off. It's not very secure. Could probably make it go a little deeper. This one I had to reprint and make it a little smaller because the original size was too big. Let's see if I can play this again. The weakest link here is my thumb pick, because this one, while it feels secure, I can't really... Oh, well, now I'm getting good notes. It's kind of hard to get the right feel for it. And also, this finger is pretty bulky, so it kind of gets in the way when you're trying to do your finger picking motions and stuff. So the combination is not great. They each work decently in their respective by themselves. I might have to come back to finger picks and look for some actual finger picks, maybe for, you know, the finger and not the thumb, but who knows. They're decent for you know, I tried something new at least.
So now let's move on from the world of using picks to storing them. There are many ways to store your picks and have them on hand when needed. So let's talk about some of these options available through the power of 3D printing. Let's start with one that's kind of close to my heart. This is called Guitar Pick Holder Low Poly Skull Remix by Meta Seb. There are a variety of decorative pick holder models that are useful and fun, but this is the first one I ever printed, and I have been actually working on myself as well. First of all, this is a remix, which basically means that someone used a model created by another user and changed it in some way. For more information about remixes, I again will try to make a video explaining more about this, linked in the description if it is created and uploaded. But basically, there was a model of a low poly skull and someone added pick slots, thusly remixed. It's simple, cool, and gets the job done in style. I mentioned that I am working on this model, which is a slightly long story. Basically, I need money for starting a small company, so I am looking for options I have available to me other than simply trying to work at McDonald's or something like that. The original creator of the pick holder said he doesn't want anyone to simply take the model and sell it, so I have been trying to improve upon it and add some more value rather than simply downloading, printing, and selling, which I agree is kind of sleazy. There is still some moral ambiguity to this situation, but if the creator really has a problem with this situation, I wouldn't mind talking to him about it directly and seeing if he deems my changes enough to make it different. Next, we have this model called Guitar Pick Holder by Sometimes Cake. This is a retractable pick holder, kind of like similar ones made professionally by brands like Dunlop. This one is very DIY, however, using a rubber band instead of an internal spring or something like that when done professionally. But for the materials cost and possible ease of acquisition, it still holds its logical value. I tried to print this originally on the V3 SE a long time ago, but it just didn't turn out. It suffered from just about every basic 3D printing issue, where it had some elephant's footing, but also lifted off the build plate in other areas, so I didn't continue to pursue the model any further at that time. Hopefully I will also have videos talking about some of those issues in the description eventually as well. But since I am remaking this video, I decided to try it again on my better machine with simpler filament. So this one is printed on the P1P with Polymaker PLA White.
Okay, so I just got done 3D printing the retractable model again, and I just wanted to have a few notes about that. So this comes in 3 different parts. It has the base, which goes inside, so that this can be the retractable base inside, and then to seal it off, you have this. I'm not quite sure if you need to glue this yet. We might, but the main thing that I wanted to talk about was these 2 parts. So they don't have much rounding on the bottom, so they might be difficult to remove from your build plate, so that's something to be aware of. And then I also wanted to see how well these tree supports would get removed. Ooh, they're pretty solid on there actually. Oh, I'm gonna have to use some clippers on these. But yeah, so this is a model that needs supports, and supports are a whole thing in themselves, which I will also hopefully have another video linked in the description eventually. I don't know how fast I'm gonna be able to get those out. But yeah, this is why people avoid supports usually, is because they can be difficult, and they add post-processing time, as well as they can ugly up your model depending on how well they work, or don't work, actually. Alright, so the supports did come off fairly easily with the use of side cutters, which these are usually pretty standard to come with most printers. Unfortunately, the Bamboo Labs doesn't come with any, I don't think. These ones were a little more expensive and kind of worse quality actually. Anyway, this came off fairly cleanly, which is pretty good. There's some bumps, unfortunately, because I think that this is the area where the picks are supposed to go in and out. But yeah, so let me see if I can find the right type of rubber band and see if I can make this work. Okay, so I was able to find a rubber band to make this work. Now there is quite a bit of fit tolerance on this bottom plate here. I obviously have not glued the bottom, but I was able to get this thing to work. It's a little rough on trying to get the picks out, but it does work. Also trying to get them in. I don't remember the exact number of guitar picks that I was able to get in here. I wasn't counting. It felt like around 20 to 15, but it also depends on the thickness of your guitar picks as well. Of course, the thicker the picks, the less you'll be able to fit in. So yeah, it is pretty cool for being a DIY option. It's kind of hard to find a proper rubber band to get in to get this to work properly. I was lucky enough to find one. I almost went with one that was like a size bigger, but all I have is this big bag of random rubber bands, and majority of them are huge because yeah, there's not many uses for tiny rubber bands like that, except for in like this and Lego sets. So yeah, and then you would glue this on here. You definitely have to glue it. It does not have any friction fit whatsoever. But yeah, pretty cool.
Our next model is also called Guitar Pick Holder, but by Jonacar. Despite the name being the same, this is actually a keychain pick holder. This model works by using the functional flexing of the plastic either from the model or even from the picks that you plan to store. This is another model that it will be important to keep an eye on the glass transition point of the plastic you use. Under very harsh heat conditions, it is possible that the plastic can deform or even melt, though this is usually unlikely despite what some people would have you believe. But with it potentially being in your pocket and this being an issue, it is something to look out for, which again, hopefully you can find a more detailed video about this in the description of the video. Anyway, let's see how well this model works.
Okay, so here's the pick holder. It looks like it mainly only holds one pick, but the groove looks like it might be able to fit two, so let's see how this works. So you just slide it in like so, testing with my pick. So then there's a little bit of flex that happens that pulls these arms out, but they're thick enough that they shouldn't just snap. Let's see if we can fit another one in here. Yeah, you can fit two. It's a little, this is really hard to, I don't think you can really see it, but it has a bit of a strange flex on the picks. But yeah, and let's try it with some normal picks. Putting two picks also makes it harder to get them out, so maybe only put one in if you plan on using this model, which is not always ideal. But here's an Ibanez Wizard pick, which is a standard, the more standard pick shape. And oh, what? Okay, well that one fits actually weirder in the model than my pick does. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to look, but yeah, it kind of like floats in there. Not very strange, but kind of strange.
Next, this model is called Hercules Guitar Stand Pick Holder by Dark Nostris, something. Now this is an honorable mention because
there's that one, there it goes.
Now this is more my fault because it's meant for a guitar stand rather than a mic stand, when a mic stand version is what I was expecting, even though the designed purpose is right in the title. I don't own a Hercules guitar stand, but let's see if it'll fit one of my stands regardless.
However, I do think this might be able to fit onto the base down here. Oh, look at that! That's actually like a really good fit. Pretty slick on there, but that's pretty good. It's also meant for a Hercules stand, so I don't know how any of my stands would work. So I forgot to actually show how the pick holders actually hold picks, so let's see if this one works good. Yeah, it's fairly decent. They just slide in there. The grabbing force, the grabbing tightness is pretty tight, so depending on your stand, if it's not like a very high quality and heavy one, you may pull your stand with this pick before you get it out of this holder, honestly. This one was meant for the Hercules stand, so they're probably decent enough where it won't be like that, and it's also probably not meant for a quick grab. It's meant for storage so that you don't lose your picks in your practice space.
Now let's move on to one that was meant to go on a mic stand. This model is called Mic Stand Guitar Pick Holder by 3 de Jure. This one says in the title that it's meant for a microphone stand and is in a style that I haven't actually really seen before. Usually they are in line like the previous model, but this one is actually side to side placement. It's not bad, it's just different. Now, models like this can be difficult sometimes. There are a few different factors that can mess up the sizing of the end result of the model, like if the original designer factored in any measurements or tolerances specifically for their machine's function in their design, or if the plastic you use shrinks a decent bit, and there are a few other things that can mess this up as well. Basically what I'm saying is you may need to resize the model slightly to get a firm fit on your stand, but doing this may also change how the fitment of the picks go into the model, so keep that in mind as well. Anyway, let's see how it worked for me.
Okay, so first problem with this model is that because of the filament I was using, there's a slight warpage. You can see it there, curved in and then out and down here. So that might affect my use of this. This is meant to be the microphone stand one, but looking at this, it's going to be way too small and thin. I don't know if I printed this way too big or what, but yeah, that is not, there it goes. So I guess maybe it's another one where it's meant to be on the base here. Yeah, I don't know why everyone's making ones for these thicker bases, because the only ones that I've known is like this Dunlop one where it sits on the arm up here, but this one, you know, they have to sit on the base here, which I guess isn't bad depending on the model you have. But this one, this knockoff Hola Music, this is a little low to be trying to grab your stand or your picks, because this is me standing next to it. For example, it's all the way down here. It's below PP level, so you know it's getting pretty down there for, especially for a smooth recovery if you drop your pick or it breaks or something like that. So let's check this one, which is actually meant to be on the microphone stand, probably for quick grabs. And it has this little like finger style, kinda, and it goes in nice and easy, comes out pretty easy. That's actually a really good force. That's a really good grip force for probably like effective use and quick recoveries if you mess up and drop your pick or break it. Very cool.
Now let's move on to a more different but interesting type of pick holder. This one is again called Guitar Pick Holder by Signor Di Boggio. However, this one is meant to go on the horn of a Strat, or maybe even a Tele style guitar. Luckily, Strats are my favorite, so let's see how this goes. I tried printing this without supports initially, which just didn't go well. Though then I used basic tree supports to get the job done. This left little bumps on the top side of the storage area. It can kind of block the pick from inserting into the slot, but also helps with the stability of the pick when it is inserted in the slot. I don't know where my original print went in the process of writing this, so this one was printed on the P1P out of Polymaker Polylite PLA Black.
Okay, so the first part of this is the installation, so I need to see if I can actually do this or not. Right now I have my Drop B Strat here. Next thing is to remove the screw that's needed and then reinsert it. I had to look at the uploading so to make sure that that I put this in the right spot, which I guess you could really put it anywhere on one of these normal screws, whatever works better for you. But this is the spot where the creator intended for it to go. Now the next thing that I'm worried about is the depth of the screw. We do not have a whole lot of depth to work with, so we're gonna see if this will work or not, but I have no clue. First thing is that it doesn't fit through the damn it. It doesn't fit through the hole properly, but that's good for fitment and keeping it in place. I need to kind of screw this screw through the print to get it started to get through to the pick guard in the hole, the cavity. And another thing is that this holder, it only kind of cradles the pick. It doesn't like really hold it in. So you have to put this at a point, at an angle where gravity is going to hold the pick in place, because this will not properly secure it, but there it is. So I guess now let's see if I can try and play with using this thing. I'm going to try it with the Ibanez Wizard pick because it's more of a conventional shape. Actually, this is pointed more. What the hell happened there? I thought these were rounded more. This is kind of pointy like mine. But it's a more standard shape, so I'm going to put it in there. We're going to see about what I can do. I have to plug in and everything. I need to figure out a finger playing. I so the transition with the pick was not as bad, but my transition with my fingers was worse. Oh, went for the wrong pick. Alright, well, it kind of works. It takes a little bit to get used to, but it works pretty well, and the pick is in there fairly decently. It's not quite perfect. I might design it a little differently to try and make this fit perfectly, but it's also hard to make a general design that will work with everyone's printer, at least perfectly. So I can understand some of these stuff about this. But yeah, I think it's a neat design. I'll probably never take this off because I just have to do it, but yeah, I have it there now.
Our next pick holder model finally has a new name, New Guitar Pick Holder, and this one is again made by Senor Di Bujo. It's still an on-guitar pick holder, but this time it goes behind the pickup switch on a Strat. You may be able to use this on another guitar with a pick guard, but it probably won't be as secure. Let's see how it works.
Okay, so I was planning on doing this pick holder next, the other one, but I have a problem. I don't know if the creator uses thicker picks. Let me see about the description, actually. No, he does not say. So I don't know what thickness of pick he uses, but it doesn't really grip onto the pick. It can kind of hold in there, but it can fall out pretty easily. And the way that he has it on the page is that it goes down here. Oh, yeah, this is hard to show. It goes down here, and then you put the pick in like so, where it can kind of be held by gravity, but if you're shaking around too much, it can fall right out. Let me see if I can demonstrate this. Yeah, so I think that this one might be a little bit more of a fail unless you do some changes to the design yourself to work with your printer and stuff, and to work with your size of picks that you use. But yeah, this one's a little bit of a fail, but it could work theoretically. Still a neat idea though.
Let's move on to our last type of pick holder, and these are pick displays. As guitarists, we usually end up collecting a variety of things, pedals, cables, to even the guitars themselves. But something that often seems overlooked is the picks themselves. While there are actually many professional options for pick displays, they can be kind of spendy, so these may be a nice halfway point. While we have the decorative pick holders, I consider these to be a different category, as these ones are meant to show off the picks more, and the picks are typically meant to be left on the displays rather than actually actively using them. Our first option is the fanciest of the selection I have today. This is called Pick Display by 1999 Gigo. Gigo? These freaking names, dude. He was someone who was in the crowd of a show and got a pick flung at them. Twice, actually. So they wanted to create a nice way to display these collectible items, featuring a slot for a 1.5 thick piece of clear material like plexiglass, and a small plaque area for editing the model and displaying the band name and such. This model was made with love and also has two options for attaching the model to a wall, which are a teardrop style hole for a small finishing nail or something similar. Otherwise, he recommends blue tack in the rectangle slot on the back. He also says he designed the print for resin 3D printing, so the model may not be optimal for FDM printing like we're using here, but mine turned out decently. But I also don't remember all the settings I used to create it this way, because this was an original print that was probably printed almost a year ago now.
An issue with this model is that, first of all, there is a little slot in there, so that helps. That's not the issue. It holds it in place. It helps hold the pick in place. But once you put a pick in there, this is going to be really hard to try and do one-handed. You gotta kind of have to sit it in the right spot. This one is not working well. This snarling dog brain pick is not. Okay, there we go. I kind of have it, but it's still off center. That's one slight fault with this design, but you can manually center it. Oh my god, I think even picture frames are easier than this. This is kind of out of focus because I'm using the DSLR Canon camera for this.
It's still off! Ah!
Next is a more basic model called Guitar Pick Display Holder by Great One. This is a simple model made out of basic geometries, but still gets the job done. It comes in two variants, one that holds a single pick and another that holds 5. The one I have printed is obviously the 5 version. Next up, we have a slightly more sophisticated option called Guitar Pick Holder in parentheses single by Interlink Knight. This is a great little option that takes very little plastic and time to print, stably stands up the pick and itself, and does not distract or detract much from the design on the pick. Overall, this thing is just amazing, with its only downside being that it doesn't have any way to resist dust. This model may also benefit from using a smaller print nozzle size to get better accuracy on the pick slot. It's not necessary, but it may make the pick stability that much better, though it would also increase the print time. I don't know by how much, but since the model is so small, I wouldn't imagine by much. For more information about nozzle sizes, I will hopefully make another informational piece about the subject, hopefully linked in the description below eventually. So that's all I have for this theme of 3D printing for a guitar today. There are so many models of even just the subjects that we've talked about today for you to go out and explore. I just can't show them all in these videos, especially when you factor in other model sharing sites. If you enjoyed this video and found it informative or entertaining, please leave a like. This is normally a 3D printing and music channel, but sometimes I do a variety of other stuff as well. If that sounds good, please consider subscribing. I don't make a regular income currently, so please use the affiliate links in the description to help me out if you plan on buying any of the plastic or other things listed below, or just anything on Amazon in general. Use the link. It adds no cost to you and allows me to try and continue to make these videos. Also, delete the Honey extension if you use the links and have it, because they make their money by stealing the affiliate credit from people like me. That's all I have to say for now, so I'm gonna say bye-bye.